Good morning, everyone, and thank you guys so much for joining today. As we can see, the market is, I guess you can say, selling off this morning. We see a bunch of stocks in the red. You name it, it's probably down today. But either way, we are seeing a lot of selling pressure coming in across a lot of different stocks. One of the main reasons is that rates are rising. Basically, what happens when rates rise is it really affects the valuations of tech stocks. And, we saw the markets just explode up over the past couple years. One of those reasons is low rates. It, just fuels a lot of buying. So to see rates rise, it's not good, but it is really great for our TLT put position. So definitely keep that in mind. But Tom, heading into today, I know we had so much momentum yesterday. We saw a bunch of stocks pop up. What's on your radar?
I'm honestly going to have Tesla on my radar. They're actually turning right back up here at market open, and they fell down this morning below that 780 support, which did scare me a little bit this morning. But, we rocketed right back up. It looks like the momentum is back here once again with Tesla. And I feel like with the momentum, we might be able to get back up towards $800 a share again. I know yesterday, right at the end of the day, we hit right off of 799, came right back down. I'll definitely have my eyes on Tesla. And then, of course, I'm going to have my eyes on these cruise lines, Mike, like CCL, RCL, different stocks like that. It's the same story as Tesla. A lot of them fell down today in pre-market, but looks like they're all kind of popping back up here at market open.
For sure. So, they had a lot of momentum yesterday. They're on I guess you could say like a week-long green streak, and I really hope they do continue up. But yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit tough with everything else selling off. So definitely good job pointing that out. Personally, I'm really going to be watching TLT. This is a play that we got in a little bit ago, puts, and it's really selling off. We can see it's down below 145 in pre-market, which is a pretty big move, Tom. Especially for an ETF like TLT, this thing does not move that much. The implied volatility is only 15%, and it looks like it's going to open up around 1.5% to the downside, which is a huge move.
Yeah, that's terrible to see. It's falling right through this channel it's been in. Honestly, Mike, I know that TLT doesn't really move too much off of technicals like channels and stuff like that. But, it's really been between 145 and with an upper range of 152. And it's pretty nice to see it falling out below here. I know that, that's definitely going to help our TLT puts. And, it's showing that rates are starting to go back up. And, I know that they talked about Burry shorting rates the last time it was falling down towards 135. And, I know he's still in his TLT put positions too, isn't he?
Oh yeah, definitely. DLT puts, and I know that he even had a little bit of TBT calls.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a nice play too. I know TBT is they're pretty much just inverse of each other, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean for the most part, yep.
Yeah, I know that you can see the TBT can actually get some pretty nice gains here, and I kind of like TBT, Mike. It looks like it's sitting here pretty steadily around its support around $18, maybe 17.50, and honestly, both plays don't look too bad. But keep in mind, TLT will be more to the downside if you guys play that one.
Oh yeah, definitely keep that in mind. But then thank you guys so much for joining. So welcome Jamie, Sean, Edwin, Mike, Mac, Bill, T, and Spacely, and Vicky. Thank you guys so much for joining today. You guys know the drill. Let us know what stocks you're watching, and we'll definitely take a look at them. Welcome Mason to the stream. It's great to have you on. We have Sean talking about TLT. He said his TBT calls are up 65%. Love to hear that. I've been watching these two for quite a while, and I'm very glad to finally see him popping off. Welcome Carlos to the stream. We have Spacely coming in saying, morning team, let's hit that like button. Let's go, Spacely. So guys, if you like our streams, definitely hit the like button. It would help us out so much, and we would greatly appreciate it. And let's see what we have. We have Mason saying BBIG to the downside with a question mark. So looking at BBIG, it's down 5% or so. The problem is, if you are looking to, you can't really short the stock because, this is a short squeeze setup and the fees will be ridiculous. And if you buy puts on it, you can also get screwed over big time because the implied volatility is 200%. So, if you're looking to play to the downside, the only option I really see here is a put debit spread. But even just looking at it in general, I mean, I like it, but you just need some time.
Yeah, and it's going to be pretty hard to trade this one to the downside. And I will say though, it does look like it's trying to hold this type of support kind of like right at $6.60. It looks like we're getting some pretty good bounces here off of this level. Maybe we'll be able to hold this and then get some more momentum, maybe like pre-market of yesterday or maybe like the end of the day on Friday. But unless we hold support and we go back up, I personally probably won't play it. Just like Mike said, it's pretty hard to short this one.
All right. And then what do we have going? We have Rick saying, let's do it. Love to see it. Max said, DraftKings on my watch list. Love this stock for the long term, and I'm hoping they bounce soon. You know, they have a lot of huge potential deals in the works. I know, obviously, that Entain deal, which is like a multi-billion-dollar deal, which would be awesome for them. And they even had that potential deal with like Disney / ESPN. So, you know, it has a lot going for it. They're definitely on offense, and I love this stock for the long term.
Yeah, I actually do too. I love it for the long term as well. And we're actually right around that $50 support. It honestly looks like a pretty good level right here for the long term, Mike. I know that we were trading between like $45 and $55 for a long time there. So $50 is a lot better than 60 or 65 where we were just a week or two ago. So I think it's a great time to grab shares if you haven't picked up any DraftKings yet for the long term. And, you know, even if it goes down to 45 in the short term, that's only $5 a share. And if you're holding it long term, that's not too big of a difference, really. And I'll be honest, that $50 support is probably going to hold up pretty strong over the next few days.
All right. And then we have Trevor saying thoughts on Zoom. So this is like a longer term play for me. In the short term, it doesn't really have any momentum to the upside. So I definitely, it's not like a short term play. For me, you know, even to the downside, it's just not ideal. To me, the real only opportunity I see with this one is like a medium to long term play. But Tom, maybe you're seeing something different. Maybe you see some key levels or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we actually just fell below a key level, like right around like 275 and right below 270, which was a little unfortunate for us. But as we can see back here, last year during, let's just say like June through September, you can see this stock consolidated for a little bit for those couple months. And, you know, this is like right to that same price area that we were at during that couple months. And it seems like we consolidated for that time between 230 and between like 275. So if we look at where we are now, you know, we could fall down to this 230 support here on Zoom. And, you know, even if we do, we'll still be at some good longer term levels. So I feel like Zoom could go down in the short term, and that would probably be the main way I would look at it to go, at least for the next few days. But definitely eye up these supports. Look at where it was last July and last August, guys. I think that'll be a really big factor when you're looking at this one to the downside.
All right. Then we have Edwin asking about SPY put. So, yeah, I like it actually. You know, like the market's struggling a little bit, and especially when you have key stocks like Apple and Microsoft trending to the downside, I think it's a pretty good move. Just as always, you're going to want to make sure that you have quality options. You're going to want to make sure you have time, and of course that you're close to the money. But overall, I do like it.
Yeah, me too. It definitely looks like to me that it's going to go more to the downside. And I really like how it fell below 440 and then it tried to break up through there and got rejected again. So if we see a break, you know, 438 today, I think the SPY could sell off pretty drastically, possibly down to 436 pretty quick. I think it could be a pretty good play today. And like Mike said, you know, we have some of these key stocks like Microsoft. I mean, I don't know what happened in pre-market today, but lots of stocks gapped down, and Microsoft's continuing down at open. It's just not looking good at all out of them. We switch over to Apple. At least they're trying to come back up at open. I mean, Microsoft is continuing their sell-off, though. It just looks terrible.
Yeah, I think it's those rates, you know, like it really hurts these tech stocks.
Yeah, I know. You know, everyone always talks about like rates being low is so good for these companies. And it's going to be a bad situation whenever they start raising rates. And it almost seems like Powell and obviously they were trying to do this, but they were like manufacturing such a big market upswing that now as the rates start to rise, they're going to have to manufacture a huge downswing now, which is going to be crazy.
We shall see. All right, so most of the stocks on my watch list are red today. We have Palantir leading the way to the downside. So that sucks. Palantir's really selling off. Square, Upwork, Nvidia, lots of red today. DraftKings in the red by 2%. I only have a couple stocks in the green. RCL is leading the way though, which is really good to see. Like, you know, we can see a bunch of buyers came in right at open.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, Mike. These stocks are still holding up well, even though they had some bad movement during pre-market and they kind of gapped down this morning. That's a really good recovery back to the upside. And I'm glad to see that. And I'm also seeing some stocks like CHPT also having a great day today. I know this stock's been bouncing off this $20 support a lot lately. Look at this one on the daily. It looks like it has a lot of potential to turn back up. Same thing with PLUG, same thing with RUN. All these stocks have done amazing, even though RUN is down 1.1% today. You can tell that they have some momentum coming into them at market open. They just had a bad gap down like everything else. But man, CHPT is on fire today, Mike. It actually broke that high of yesterday even.
Yeah, I didn't even see that until you pointed it out. Definitely looks like a decent setup right there. Then we have Vicky asking about support and resistance for X. So let's take a look at that one. I know they've been all over the place lately.
Yeah, they have. And I actually had them falling out of a key trend line a while ago, Vicky, back here. But keep in mind, this trend is probably over now. And this move is done with. It definitely had a bad move to the downside after a hit where we were expecting. And there's honestly a huge support down here right around $20 on X. And you can see 20 to 21 is honestly a huge level. It looks like $21 was where we hit just like last week with X before we got that pop back up. And I'd say $21 is a good support, Mike. And we hit right off of that just a few days ago. I think it's pretty close. And I would say the next resistance, Vicky, would be right around 24.50 to 25.
All right. And then we have, let's see, Edwin asking about Moderna calls. So let's take a look. mRNA, so it's down like 3.5%. I really don't like this move. I mean, if you wanted to, like for like a really quick play, trust your gut, but I really don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either. And look at this on the daily. I mean, this is the exact setup, Mike, that I know that we've been waiting for Moderna for a long time. I know that Mike and we were watching this on the way up for a long time. Mike was able to get some puts at different areas on this one, but man, it's finally starting to turn off. We have lower highs on the daily posted. It's just not looking good. Lots of technicals pointing to the downside. We fell below that key $400 level. And I could honestly see this one falling back down to the 350 support. But honestly, I could see it going even lower over the next like 3 to 6 months. I really think that this stock got way overextended on this vaccine news. And, we had like the governor of New York, or I can't remember who it was yesterday, Mike, but somebody big in the government or something, they came out and said that they expect, or I think it was Pfizer's CEO. They said that they expect COVID to kind of start going away over the next couple of years. And that's not good news for these vaccine companies.
Yep, so great question, Edwin, and really thank you for bringing that one up. And then we have, so that's all the questions for right now. But Tom, I want to talk about these cruise lines really quickly again. So let's take a look at RCL. They had like I don't want to say a bad opening, but it definitely wasn't good. But it looks like they're coming right back up. And I mean, just look how many buyers are just like jumping into these ones.
Yeah, we're actually almost back up that double top of yesterday around $95 or $95.20. This is such a good recovery today, Mike. I almost can't even believe the type of moves that we're seeing out of this at open again. It's just, after seeing the way it gapped down yesterday, I never would have thought that at open we'd see the same type of momentum. But hey, that's awesome to see. And I'm glad it's happening because, man, these stocks have been beaten down for a while. And as we start to see like RCL here, we're getting really close to these big resistances, especially the $100 level coming up. And man, if we break $100 of the upside, that could make for a pretty big breakout, I think. And you can see in the past, $100 has definitely been touched a lot of different times. So I'll just go ahead and throw this resistance on my chart here. But man, this honestly is just such a good setup, Mike. I'm really waiting for another breakout today above that high of yesterday.
All right. And then we have Jay saying Tesla might run. So looking at Tesla, they're doing pretty good today. They're up like 0.5%, but I would say given like the current market conditions, it's pretty good.
Yeah, this is a great move up. And it's so weird to see Tesla going up the past 2 days while the SPY goes down. And Tesla was going down for those 6 months. The SPY was ripping to all-time highs. So it seems like Tesla just has a mind of its own lately. And if it breaks above the $800 high here, or that $799 high of yesterday, really watch out, guys. I think we could see a big move. But keep in mind, the possibility of a rejection around 800 is probably higher than the possibility of a breakout. So always keep that in mind. But I really would love to see a nice break above 800. I know I've been waiting for it for a while, and I honestly love how Tesla finally broke out of this blue trend line on the daily chart, Mike. It's finally happened, and I really hope to see a move up through 800.
All right. And then we have Kathy saying Neo is on the move. What do you think for resistance?
Yeah, Neo's looking great. Past that high of yesterday, we just hit that $37 level. It looks like 37 might be posing as a good resistance. We broke that high of yesterday. We have a little bit of red coming in, Vicky. So I would say really look out for $37. Yeah, 37 is definitely going to be good. And then after 37, there's another one up here around 38. I feel like it could move pretty good between here. And with the way the momentum's going, I would not be surprised to see us at 38 either by like the end of the day today or possibly tomorrow. I love how we broke that high of yesterday. I think that shows that there could be a lot of momentum here.
Great question, Kathy. And then we have Trevor saying, yeah, Pfizer CEO really saying something when the vaccine maker says we won't need the vaccine. So I just think like it's just too late in the trend to be like buying the dip on like Moderna, for example. After the run up it's had, it's just looking really overbought. And like you mentioned that the Pfizer CEO said like he expects the world to be back to normal or something like that in like 1 to 2 years. Don't quote me on what he said, but it was something along those lines. And if we take a look at Pfizer stock, it's really tanking off, and Moderna will move in a similar way. So just keep that in mind. And I'm really eyeing this one for some like put debit spreads, but these options are just they're relatively expensive, and I'm just like analyzing the risk reward with everything going on, because I really think it will fall. It's just the price you're paying to make that bet on the options change. So it's just interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard. Like Mike said, that pricing is the main thing with a lot of these options. And, Mike has done this for a long time, and he's looked at tons and tons of options. And, if he says it's not priced well, it's probably not. So I would definitely look at that advice there, and just definitely look at Moderna, though. I do like it to the downside. If you could get in just regular puts, and I think it could end up working out, like if you timed it right. But, if you get in at like, let's say the end of the day today, and then Moderna just gaps up in pre-market or something, that's going to ruin the pricing for you. So that's where it's going to get a little shaky. I think if you get in for like a quick day trade or something like today, if you would have shorted it after open, I think it would have been a pretty good way to go. But unless you're doing something like that, I would stick to what Mike said and maybe look at like put debit spreads for something for the longer term.
Yeah, I mean, it's not horrible. It's just like it's not great. You know what I mean? Like it's like in that middle point right now where the options aren't like way overpriced like they were with like OPAD or IRNT the other week, but at the same time, they're definitely relatively expensive. So let's keep it in mind. And yeah, so that's that as of right now. I'm not sure if you saw the continued sell-off with TLT, Tom, but these rates are just continuing to rise, and it's going to hurt a lot of stocks out there, especially tech stocks. But this TLT play will do very well.
Yeah, look at TLT falling below 144. I mean, I could not believe the bad movement that TLT is having today, Mike. And I think that that's just showing that there's so much confidence in these rates rising right now that it's just going to be crazy. And I really expect that. I don't know, like Mike, but Powell keeps talking about this with these FOMC meetings. I know he just talked about it like a week ago. He just said that, that the rates aren't going to rise within the next couple months, but they're looking at making them rise like over the next year or two. And especially as we start getting closer to a lot of these, to a lot of their jobs numbers, goals and stuff like that. But, that's going to be pretty bad, I think, for the market whenever they start raising these rates. The market has obviously loved the rates being low, and we can see the SPY just over the past couple of years has just rocketed to all-time highs. And man, whenever these rates start going up, I have a bad feeling that the market's just going to start really coming down. And I think it's already starting to happen, Mike, and it might not be showing up 100% yet, but I have a feeling that in just a couple months or just a couple weeks, there's going to be headline after headline, like rates are dropping the market left and right. Like I think it'll be all over CNBC and investing.com and all those websites.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. It all depends on how rates move, obviously, but it's definitely not looking too good for them right now. So keep that in mind. And then we have Alex saying, "Can you let me know your thoughts on Clove? Does it lack any momentum up?" So let's take a look. CLOV, it's down like 4%. I was in it like a month ago or something like that, and I got out of it because the momentum is just it's gone. Like it's not trending up, it's not trending down. It has these big green days like every other week or so, but there's just no momentum with it. You know what I mean? It's just for a stock like this, it's different if you're playing like Apple or TLT or really any other stock where you don't like need like the the hype or the retail traders in it, but like it like no one's really talking about it anymore. Like of course if you on Wall Street Bets or something like that, you might see some people talk about it, but even I was looking at Wall Street Bets the other day, and a couple months ago, like they would just stick to 1 to 2 stocks and it would work very well for them. But now there's a new hype stock every single day, and their power is just like spread thin. So that's a big problem with Wall Street Bets right now. Like they just have way too many tickers that they're going after, and it's just weak right now. So with that being said, I don't think it's a horrible play out of everything. Like personally, I would rather get in Clover than AMC. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me with that one, but it's just my opinion. And out of everything, I think that it wouldn't hurt to get shares if you did want to play it, because the options are like there's like over 100% implied volatility.
Yeah, and this stock does move pretty well off support, and we recently touched that. Now, we could end up falling through that over the next few days. I wouldn't be too surprised. Like you said, it's a really volatile stock, but I'm with you. It's going to be a really hard one to play, but I'd rather have it over AMC too. And honestly, for shares, it's not the worst time right now. We're honestly right by support. So if you did want some of this company, I think it's a good time to get some shares now, or maybe you could even short some puts. Maybe that would be a good way to go. But either way, it's going to be really, really risky. This stock's going to be risky almost no matter how you play it. So just keep that in mind. It's definitely no Apple, no Microsoft. And honestly, I'd rather just trade something like CHPT or RUN or one of those nicer EV or solar stocks that are right at support too.
All right. So looking at everything right now, it looks like these cruise lines that were looking so good this morning are definitely selling off a little bit. So I really hope that doesn't end up happening, but it definitely looks like it will. Also, across the board, we're seeing more selling pressure coming in. We just had the SPY and the QQQ break their low of day. Lots of selling pressure coming in. The VIX is popping off a little bit. UVXY popping off. Yeah, UVXY is up like 10% on the day. So lots of selling pressure all across the board. Palantir down 5%. Redfin down 4%. So everything's selling off. So yeah, definitely not good right there. I saw Ford was looking okay this morning, but even the momentum got killed there. They had some pretty good news, and they were looking really good, and they're still up like 3%, but it's just like weak.
Yeah, that's actually some pretty good news. I didn't even see this, Mike, but they announced 4 new plants and 11,000 jobs as part of a huge EV push. That's amazing to hear for Ford. I know GM was doing pretty well the other day too. And look at GM at open. They actually had a pretty nice move too. It's almost like they followed Ford up, but I'll say it does look pretty good, Mike. And my main problem with Ford is that it's went up so much the past like week or the past like 6 days that it's just hard to trade it now back to the upside. We're also right at this like $14.70 to $15 resistance. So it's going to be a little bit hard, but that's great news, Mike. 4 new plants and 11,000 new jobs. Like, man, Ford is really killing it on these EV announcements. Same thing with General Motors. Both of those companies are really, I think, blowing people's minds lately with what they've been doing. And that's awesome to see that they're going up. But like you said, the sell-off today is very drastic. We have lots of stocks to the downside, and a lot of them are not, a lot of them are pretty big market maker stocks like NVDA, pretty big move down, AMD. Just all these tech stocks are not looking good, Mike. We even have like Micron, Enphase, just all these type of like tech stocks are really starting to fall today.
All right. And then we have Kathy saying, oops, NIO has fallen. Was positive. What will a good support be?
Yeah, man, NIO just had a big drop. I've actually been watching it on my other chart here, but man, NIO just had a big move to the downside within 10 minutes here, pretty much. It just exhausted all of its gains. It fell right through that 36 support. We're actually right on the 1,000 SMA on the 5-minute. There's a big support here right around $35.50. So we'll definitely be eyeing that up today. But man, what a turnaround over the past few minutes out of NIO. They were honestly breaking out the new highs, and man, that turnaround was so drastic. It only took like 10 minutes to get this far down. That's insane.
Yeah. So what support are you watching?
I'm honestly watching that 35.50 support. It's looking pretty good. Over the past few days, that one's really held up on the 90-day, 15-minute. We can see 35.50 has been right in like the middle of this range. Below that, $35 is going to be the level to watch, but 35.50 will definitely be the next intraday level.
All right, we have Keisha saying, good morning, guys. Welcome to the stream. We have Alex saying UPST is down 4.5%. I didn't even see that one. Let's see. UPST. So they're finally coming down. It's just, is this a top? You know, that's the $1 million question. But I don't know. It's not looking too bad, actually.
Yeah, personally, I mean, I feel like it might be the top finally. And I know that it might be a little early, but man, I mean, nice double top here at like 340 or 341. And I could just continue seeing the sell off. It definitely looks like it can happen. Look at this on the max daily, guys. Like it's just so overextended and it's finally starting to somewhat come down. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely looking tempting, Mike. I might have to take a good look at this one over the next couple hours.
All right, give me 1 second. All right, so we have Keisha saying, so why are stocks pulling back? Is it because the bill didn't get pushed through yet? So there's a couple reasons. One of them being investors are still taking profits in general. But I would say the main reason for today is because of rising rates. So when rates are falling, it makes, lending cheaper and people buy up a bunch of assets. When rates rise, you don't see that same scenario. So also rising rates kind of affects the valuations of a lot of these tech stocks. So long story short, rising rates aren't good, and we are seeing rates rise in a pretty quick way. So I would say that's the main reason for right now. If you are looking to play rising rates, you can play TBT to the upside, and then you can play TLT to the downside.
Yeah, those are going to be two great ones to go for. And Michael Burry has TLT puts right now. He's pretty big. Well, at least he did the last time he reported. It's a pretty big, it's one of his bigger positions. And, he's been pretty big on rates kind of going up over the next couple of years. So definitely look out for it. It's definitely going to happen eventually. Powell's been talking about it a lot. So definitely look at it a lot. But, Mike, I'm still looking at a lot of these plays today, like VXX, UVXY. And if these rates start going up and the market falls, I feel like these plays could do pretty well too. And obviously they're doing well today, up 6% on the VIX. This is a pretty good gap back to the upside. And man, I could see these stocks really popping off with these rates going down. And, it might be smart. Like if you grab some TBT, it might also be smart to maybe grab a few shares of VXX or UVXY, or maybe even a couple calls, because these ones can really pop off too. And keep in mind, TBT will go up, but VXX is going to go up at a way higher rate if the market starts to fall.
Yeah, so like even Rick mentioned VIXY. Like if you're looking to play like rising rates, of course, like, these volatility like plays, like volatility ETFs like UVXY, VXX, and VIXY, of course, they're not going to be directly correlated to rates, but, if rates rise, stocks will probably fall, and if stocks fall, the volatility will probably rise. So it's like they move pretty much the same, but of course it's not directly correlated. But it all depends on what you're looking for. There's a lot of different avenues and ETFs that you can play, and lots of different ways to take advantage of the moving rates and the moving stocks. So definitely keep that in mind. We have Alex saying AFRM has been gapping up. Is it a good play to the downside now? If you want to play for the short term, it might be decent, but it's just not something I want to short. Like, when you have a stock that is growing so much, that has a deal with Amazon and even had that partnership with Walmart, it's just like, even if it's like pretty overbought, it's just not something I want to short. That type of news can keep a stock running for so long. Instead, I would rather short plays like Moderna and then even UPST.
Yeah, me too. I think that'll definitely be the smarter stocks to short here. Moderna really looks like it could end up falling down. UPST the same way. I think both have lots of potential to go down over the next couple of weeks. And it's just that's the main thing, is just that main risk is like if UPST starts to fall down, I feel like there's a lot more potential here than with some of these other stocks. So definitely keep your eye on that as well. And the main thing is just that whenever you're looking at these, look at how much more room UPST, I think, has to the downside. Whenever I'm looking at AFRM, it's such a crazy move to the upside. And, you got to keep in mind that they're also like a credit card company almost. Like they're giving like loans to people, and then people are paying interest on that. And I feel like as we get into this holiday season, I know Walmart's using them for like layaways and stuff like that. So that could really help this company, like especially during the holiday season, probably more than any other time.
All right, and then we have the other Alex saying, what do you think of snow puts for a day slash swing play? Snow puts, not bad, not bad at all. I actually kind of like this setup.
Yeah, me too. And this one had a lot of momentum a couple weeks ago, hit off this huge resistance at 325 and moved to the downside. So I'm with you. I could definitely see puts continuing to work out over the next few days. And honestly, I love the setup, Mike. I think it could definitely work. I'm not sure I'd enter them right here, but I could definitely see it playing out.
All right, and then we have, let's see, we have Sean saying, I got TTT shares up 8% on. There's another Bury pick. So TTT. Let's take a look at this one. TTT is up like 5% on the day. It looks very similar to TBT. I actually didn't even see this one, but Sean said it's another Bury pick. So that's just another ETF to play rising rates. So thank you for sharing that one, Sean. And then we have Corbin saying, tomorrow everyone will forget and UPST will continue up. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, me either. I mean, man, how much more times can it go up, though? I mean, wow, if it goes up again, I mean, I might just have to give up, Mike, if it goes up again. Like, that's crazy.
It's crazy, but all it takes is that 1 week and then the whole title term. It happened on Redfin, Target, and Home Depot. They all had basically the same setup, and it might run up for a month, 2 months, and then you have that 1 week where it's just disastrous. Like it's just keep it in mind, but they are really hard to play these types of setups. And then we have Alex saying, appreciate the two of you. Thanks. Well, thank you for asking that great question. Looking at the market overall, Tom, specifically the SPY, I can see we're down 1% on the day. The market's trying to bounce a little bit. What are you seeing?
My main stocks today have really been watching. I've been keeping an eye on these marijuana stocks. I've been seeing a little bit of a pop back out of those again. It's not quite as good as a move from yesterday, but I'm glad to see that ACB was doing pretty well after these earnings last night. I actually did not know that ACB reported, but that's good to see that they're up on those earnings. Tilray is going down, but it's good to see at least one good stock coming out of that sector, at least, which is a good sign. And then also the only stocks that are really green today, or at least green, enough to really generate some good plays or anything, is like these cruise lines, Mike, just like CCL, AAL. And I love how they kind of pulled back here. It's going to be really hard to play them, though. They failed to break out. They're kind of posting lower highs from yesterday, but it looks like there is some green kind of coming back into CCL. So maybe we can get another bounce right here. But overall today, Mike, I mean, it's just so hard to play stocks to the upside. It seems like almost everything is moving down today. Like we even have Pfizer just straight selling off today. AMD making new lows, making new daily lows right here. NVDA, another bad sell-off. So it's just across the board. We're just seeing a lot of stocks moving down, and I would definitely eye some plays more to the downside, maybe like Zoom, just because Zoom just broke a big long-term support. So maybe that could be a good way to go to the downside. Maybe NVIDIA could be a good way to go down, as they've been up quite high for the past year. So yeah, you can see NVIDIA starting to really fall off too. This one almost looks like a UPST or something to me, Mike. Like I could really see these tech stocks starting to fall, especially NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft. I think those three, which are probably the biggest three, are probably going to be the main three I'm looking to go down.
All right. So yeah, very interesting. I'm just looking at a bunch of different plays right now because we are seeing a lot of movement. It's just to the downside. Yesterday we saw a bunch of growth plays pop off, and today we're seeing a lot of stocks really, really sell off. Like, Facebook's down like 3%, DraftKings 3%, Palantir 5%. So it's looking rough. Now I only have one stock that's green on my watch list, which is RCL. But besides that, everything else is red. I'm just trying to find some like
oil stocks are actually green somehow again, Mike.
Oh, are they? Like Exxon?
Yeah, somehow Exxon had another good green day, and same thing with CVX. I don't know what's going on with oil here, but It's pretty crazy to see these stocks moving the way they are. And honestly, like, I know the oil market is definitely its own market. It'll definitely do its own thing, but these stocks have really been going up with these airlines over the past week or two. The setups are pretty similar.
Yep, good stuff. So, guys, let us know what stocks you're watching, and we'll definitely take a look at them. I'm really considering like a short play on Moderna.
Yeah, me too. That's going to be I think one of the biggest things I'm going to look at for the next couple of days is Moderna and UPST. I think that's going to pose a lot of great opportunities for us. And just looking at it, Moderna really fell below that 400 support today. I think that was the main technical level to look for. Once we broke below that, it was just game on this morning. You can just see we broke below 400 at market open, and just that was a terrible sell off. So that I love to see that we broke below that. And I think that the sell off might get more accelerated now that that happened, but really look out for this support over the next few days, right around 350. $350 is going to be the big level to look for, I think.
Awesome. We have Rick saying it's still September, guys. So I know the markets usually. I know the September is usually the market's worst month, and yeah, it was definitely a bloody September for 2021, which can be good and bad. Of course, if you were loaded up on call plays, then it's bad. But even if you missed like some of the short-term movement to the downside with puts, you can always dip by some of these stocks that are at good levels. DraftKings, Corsair, you could say RUN, Neo's looking pretty good, Zoom, Palantir, Redfin. Like, there are a lot of opportunities out there.
Yeah, there is. And that's the main thing right now, is that there is a lot of stocks falling to the downside. But with that happening, a lot of these like lower price growth stocks are in really great spots. Like Mike just pointed out, a lot of them, RUN, Plug, CHPT, Palantir, a lot of them are in great spots. If we go look at like CHPT on the daily, they're just right on support. Same thing with RUN, again, right off that $40 support. So these are in such good spots to grab shares, and shares can go a long way. I know people are always wanting to grab options and stuff, but I know options are awesome to trade, and I love trading options just as much as the next guy, but whenever you're looking at these stocks down here by support, you don't know, they might consolidate here for another month or two before they finally rise. They might go down a little bit before they go up, which can really hurt that pricing and make the timing of it really negative for your side. So definitely look at shares. I think for these stocks like RUN, CHPT, stuff like that, I think there's really good potential here, or even shorting puts. I think that's probably the smartest way to go, is to short puts on these. And then that way, if it goes down, you can get shares even lower. But either way, I think that those are two really good ways to go right now, especially as the market starts to fall down. And then, of course, as it falls down, I'll definitely be eyeing up VXX as well. VXX is still kind of popping off today, Mike. It's just continuing to make new highs today.
Yeah, you know it. And then we have Sean saying, I'll take DraftKings shares below $50 all day long. Yeah, I love to see it. It's a great company, and, they're on offense. They're playing to win, and they have a lot of great deals in the works, and it sucks to see them falling like this. But keep in mind, like, on their big red day, which was on September 21st, like, they fell not because of, some horrible news with, let's say like an SEC investigation or something bad like that. They fell because they're looking to buy another company for billions of dollars, So like, they're on offense, and normally in situations like that, the company that is buying the other company normally falls, which is what we saw. But either way, they're on offense. I love them, and I feel like not only does DraftKings have a lot of room to grow, but just the entire sports betting industry. I feel like that has a lot of room to grow.
Yeah, I think so too. And Mike, I know I talked about this stock a long time ago, and this was actually the stock that bought the UFC, called EDR, right? And EDR actually had a great move in pre-market this morning, I saw, and they actually came out with some pretty good news where it says that Endeavor actually acquired a company called OpenBet, and apparently that's a big thing for the UFC right now. And EDR could be another pretty good long-term play. I know lots of people love the UFC, and looking at EDR, ever since IPO, it's honestly moved pretty well, but just another example of another stock getting into that sports betting industry. So really throw EDR on your guys' watch list, guys, especially if you guys like the UFC. I know EDR is set to do pretty well over the next couple of years, especially with this new acquisition of OpenBet. I know that betting and everything is supposed to make the UFC go way up.
Alrighty. And then we have James saying good morning, and then he said LVS and MGM outlook for the short side. So LVS and MGM, MGM's a powerhouse. I mean, personally, I wouldn't short them, but always trust your gut. LVS, they're really beaten down with a lot of. I mean, they've been selling off for months now, but I know that the bad China news really hurt them, like with all the regulations that they were looking to add. Same thing with WYNN. It's not a play for me, but they're not looking horrible.
Yeah, they're not looking terrible. And you're talking about specifically MGM, right?
I mean, he was looking at LVS and MGM, and he asked for an outlook to the short side.
Oh, gotcha. So I think they could end up going down in the shorter term too. The main thing is that LVS is like right at support, so it's going to be pretty hard to fall below that. But when it does, I think it could get really accelerated. Now, MGM is one that it looks like it's kind of double topping up here around $45. And if we fail to see a breakout, I think that this one could end up falling to the downside pretty well. But Win has been looking pretty bad too. So, I mean, overall, I feel like that a lot of these have been falling over the past couple months, but I feel like that they're kind of going to be back on that upside swing eventually, like Win's had a pretty bad 6 months or, like 5 or 6 months. And I feel like that they could end up bouncing off support at some point, kind of like what they did here at $80.
Like my problem is just like with all of the opportunities we have right now, Corsair, Boeing, like I'll just run through my watch list. DraftKings, Zoom, Redfin, Palantir. I said Corsair already. RCL's looking decent. Like you have all of these plays that are like severely like at like very low levels, and then like if you're looking at stocks like let's say MGM and you're looking to short it, like I would just rather buy the dip on some stocks I would hold for the long term because who knows what the market will do. Like let's say the market, really tanks downward, then yeah, like MGM and LVS will probably tank down and so will the stock you bought, like let's say Boeing. But at the same time, if the market just goes flat or up, the stocks you dip by will just be in a much better position. So I don't know, like it's not a horrible play for LVS and MGM. It's just personally I would rather just buy the dip on a stock I wouldn't mind holding for the long term rather than trying to short a stock that's already beaten down a lot. MGM I know is up a lot more, but keep in mind they're in a much better position.
Yeah, they have that BetMGM app, and they've really innovated compared to a lot of these other casinos slash hotel companies. They've done very, very well. That's why their stock is doing so good while all these other companies are doing terrible. So that really shows. But my main thing is like you said, Mike, I'd rather buy the dip on some of these better stocks. And even LVS has a pretty good dip going on. Now I know that there's been bad news and stuff, but hey, they're like right around their like lows down here around the $35 support. And honestly, like I would rather buy LVS shares right now than short them in any way, just because you can see that the recovery could happen. And even if it falls below support, you could just sell out for a quick $1 a share loss. Like that's not terrible at all, like right here.
All right, so Tom, do you have any last minute stocks, options, or anything you're watching for tomorrow?
I actually just saw that Powell and Yellen are speaking live to Congress right now, Mike. And I wonder if that's going to have anything to, or if that'll have any impact on the market. But I saw that they were actually live according to CNBC, and that's not good. The market's been going down all morning, and hopefully they don't come out with some crazy stuff. I know that Yellen's been saying a lot of stuff lately about potential defaults and stuff like that. So lots of weird stuff could be going on, but I know that they're speaking to that to a Senate panel right now on COVID relief efforts. So if you guys want to go ahead and watch that after we're done, definitely feel free. I think it'll be a really informational stream to watch, and I'm sure that they'll talk about rates and stuff like that during this too.
All right, so thank you guys so much for watching today's stream. We have a lot of movement going on right now, so definitely be prepared for more volatility. And besides that, have an amazing rest of your day.